Hi everyone, this is Ifama Odulami of the Odulami Law Firm. We're an immigration law firm in New Jersey. I'm gonna wait until a couple of people sign on and then I'll begin today. It's been a minute. I know I have not had a Facebook Live in a month, I would say. So I am ready now. So I have some people on Instagram. Thank you for joining. And I'm waiting for a couple of people on Facebook to join in. But today I am so happy because yesterday I've been on vacation for about a couple of weeks and I came into the office. We had all this great success stories with our filings, our I-751s. We got green cards for our clients. We got green cards for our SIDGE clients, our clients, special immigrant juvenile status clients. We got green cards for them. We got TPS approvals. We even got a case where it was a naturalization case, but it was a really difficult naturalization case because there was some criminal issues. But we basically got just a slew of green cards, work permits, approvals, and yesterday was a really great day. And so today I am ready to get back, doing the work that I love to do, which is helping my fellow immigrants get their green cards or become U.S. citizens. So I have Shinzit from Instagram. Hi, Shinzit. Thank you for joining. Thank you, guys. I feel like I've been away for so long, and it's feeling, I don't know, this is like starting all over again with the lives. But I am ready again to start my lives imparting information because I want to make sure that my fellow immigrants are doing, all that they need to do, getting all the information they need to make sure that they get their legal status. So today, the topic I want to talk about is conditional green cards. Conditional green cards. And the reason I want to talk about this is because we had a particularly difficult case where my client had filed her uh, conditional green card on her own, and they had put her, it had been denied. She was in immigration court. Luckily, she retained us after the denial and after she was put in immigration court. She retained us so that we could assist her with the refiling, and we did the refiling for her. We were able to present additional evidence, and during the interview, we prepped her for the interview so that she wasn't nervous. And during the interview, when sometimes the officer would misconstrue or misunderstand her testimony, I was there to, you know, help her out in the sense of, letting the officer know that the question was not, he either didn't understand it or he should rephrase the question in a way that my client will understand it. Anyway, the good news is that she got her green card, her 10-year green card. And because it's been a long time, it's been over 5 years since she put in the petition, she automatically qualifies to naturalize at the same time. So this is really great news because now she can file for her family members, whoever she wants to help. So you guys, conditional green cards are basically what it is. It's a conditional green card. It's only good for 2 years. It's not a permanent green card. And you get this green card when you are married to a U.S. citizen, or a green card holder, and at the time that the green card was given to you, your marriage had been 2 years or less. So what you get is a conditional green card. And a conditional green card means that you have to remove the conditions from that green card before you can get your 10-year permanent green card. Now, you're required to remove the conditions 90 days before the expiration of your conditional green card. So this is really important to know because if you don't remove the conditions, you could end up in immigration court, right? So you want to make sure that you do this on time. Now, sometimes, like the I-751, that's the form that allows you to remove the conditions on your green card. Typically, you're supposed to remove the conditions from your green card with your spouse, right? You're supposed to remove it jointly. However, sometimes the marriage doesn't last long enough for both you and your spouse to remove the conditions together. And for that reason, there exceptions, there are waivers to this requirement of a joint filing. So it's important for people to know that if your relationship is not working out for one reason or the other, you don't have to stay in a bad relationship because you want to get a green card. There are waivers, right? I'm going to discuss these waivers briefly. There are 4 waivers, right? For that allow you to self petition to remove your green card, your conditions by yourself. So the first one of them is the waiver of divorce. If during that period, right, before your conditional green card expired, you and your spouse are no longer together and you have gotten divorced, you can get your conditions removed based on the waiver of a divorce. Now, typically, a lot of times what happens is that you're in the process of getting a divorce, and in which case, at the time you're supposed to remove the conditions, your divorce petition is not quite through ready. So a lot of times, what you may do is go ahead and put that divorce waiver. However, if you don't have the divorce decree at the time of your interview, you will be denied. Or USCIS can send you something called a request for evidence asking you for the divorce decree. So really, it's in your best interest to get this divorce decree ASAP. Some people think that being married would be a better solution, but really it's not. If your relationship has broken down and your spouse is not going to file with you jointly, the best thing for you to do is to put your divorce application right away so that you can get your divorce judgment of divorce as soon as possible. Okay. Now, the second waiver is that of abuse or physical or battery. So if you're in a relationship where your U.S. citizen spouse or green card holder spouse has been abusive to you, and it doesn't have to be physical abuse. I think I've talked about this a lot. So you guys need to know it doesn't need to be physical abuse. Abuse manifests itself in several ways. It doesn't have to be somebody beating you up. You don't have to show a police report to show abuse, because it could be emotional abuse, right? It could be financial abuse. It could be psychological abuse. Sometimes this types of abuse can actually really destroy a person, right? So are you in a relationship where your spouse is always putting you down, threatening to call immigration on you, threatening not to show up for the interview, taking advantage of you, embarrassing you in public? You can get your conditions removed on your own if you're being subjected to psychological abuse. Or are they refusing to are they abandoning you? Have they abandoned you without food to eat, knowing that you can't work or you're not able to work? Are they stopping you from furthering your education or getting a job? Are they making you work and taking your money from you? There's so many ways in which abuse can be shown in a relationship. So you want to talk to a lawyer who does I-751s and VAWA type cases. You know what VAWA is? Violence Against Women's Act. Remember, it applies to both men and women, so don't think it's just for women. You want to talk to somebody to figure out if your situation qualifies under a waiver of extreme cruelty or physical battery. Now, listen to the word. It doesn't have to be physical battery. You don't have to be beaten. Does it rise to the level of extreme cruelty? That person is treating you badly. That can allow you to get your green card without having your spouse help you. Okay, this is really important because I cannot tell you how many times I have clients who come here and when they find out that they can get their green card based on extreme cruelty, it changes their lives. They realize that they can, they don't have to rely on their abusive spouse. They don't have to stay with their abusive spouse. They can just go ahead, get their green card and continue with their life, their future. USCIS is aware that all marriages don't last, so there's no reason for you to stay in a bad relationship just because you want to get your green card. So the third waiver is death. If the U.S. citizen spouse or green card holder spouse dies, that of course is an exception because they cannot jointly petition for you. All right. And the fourth is extreme hardship. if you can prove that if you were to return to your country, you would suffer extreme hardship, that could be a way to waive your joint filing requirement. Now, what is extreme hardship? It depends. It differs from scenario to scenario. But one example of an extreme hardship are for those who are in countries that are suffering war, right? Like if you're in one of the TPS countries, Ukraine, Haiti, Venezuela, clearly going back to those countries would be a hardship because of the situation in those countries. So you could show extreme hardship, and sometimes other people can show extreme hardship based on maybe some things that are going on within their family dynamics. Okay, so the important thing for you to know is that if you have a conditional green card, you do not need your spouse to file to remove it with you if your marriage is not working out. Okay. Now, um, the I-751 interview, because a lot of times when you file the I-751, that's the form. You also have to submit documentation to show that it was a bona fide marriage. That requirement for bona fide marriage never goes away, because sometimes USCIS will give somebody a green card. They get a temporary green card, right? And then they take the temporary green card when they file the I-751 because they feel that the marriage was not real. So you may have passed the first step when you got the conditional green card, but that's not a guarantee that if you file your I-751, that there's going to be a finding that it's a valid relationship. You always have the burden of proving that your relationship was what we call bona fide, right? That it was a real relationship. You didn't marry your spouse just for immigration purposes. So for that reason, when you file your I-751, you have to put in evidence that shows that the marriage was real. And so you want to put in evidence from when, from even before you got your green card, but you have to continue. You want to update them with more evidence that shows that, it continued to be a valid relationship as of the time of the filing. Maybe you guys have had kids, maybe you bought a house together, whatever. Now, a lot of times people are called for an I-751 interview. And in my experience, the I-751 interview is actually a very, it could be a very difficult interview because the officers really, really scrutinize the relationship, because you have a conditional green card and you're asking for a permanent green card. So they really scrutinize it. And if you're filing for a waiver based on abuse and extreme cruelty, that will be a difficult interview because the officers will ask you a lot of questions that may actually trigger the abuse you've gone through. So you want to be prepared. You want to prepare yourself with an attorney so that you're able to articulate what you went through, right, in a credible manner without feeling overwhelmed by the emotions that you're going through, right? It's important for them to see the abuse you suffered if that's the waiver you're seeking. So now if for some reason your I-751 is denied, it could be denied for many reasons. It could be denied because the officer doesn't think that it was a bona fide marriage, or doesn't think that you showed that you had been in an abusive relationship. It could be denied, or you can't show that you would suffer extreme hardship. Well, if that's the case and you're denied, you can refile. But when you refile, you need to know why you were denied so that you can you can meet those you can rebut that denial or that decision from USCIS, the reasons that they're giving for denying you. Now, I-751s are, like I said before, they are, in my experience, they're the cases that you really, 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 really need to be prepared, because USCIS is aware that you're looking to get the permanent green card, and this is one chance to make sure that they got their prior decision right. So that's pretty much, let's see if there's anybody on my chat. That's pretty much what I have for today, but I will be back tomorrow. I don't think there's anybody asking questions, but thank you all for joining in. And I will be back again tomorrow with another topic. Take care. Bye-bye.